What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic live stream. I'm just going to get a couple things up and rolling. We're about 90 seconds early here. So just looking at a couple things, getting things flowing. Again, I have a little bit of a apology in the sense of I wanted to do this during the day, during live trading hours. But my schedule just didn't allow it for multiple different on-running issues that I had to take care of, mostly roofing and work-related insurance stuff. But anyways, we're here. It's a Friday evening. I know it's been a very, very choppy week for some folks. If you had a very well exposure to, especially to the overall market. Of course, some sectors did better than others. Some did worse than others, of course. We can dive into those. Of course, we're going to be talking about different people's tickers, the various stocks, and all kinds of things. But this week within the S&P 500 was basically down for the week again. It was a short week. We only had Tuesday to Friday really traded this week due to Mondays of President's Day closure of the equity markets. And at the same time, a little bit of just kind of really just chop again. Very strange week because again, it was also earnings. It was options expirations for monthlies, so that's usually kind of creates some chop and some particular issues within the underlying of the equities. Again, when people roll one thing to another and so forth, but. Overall, all in all, we'll look here at the major indexes, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ and so forth, and kind of draw a conclusion of the trend and other various components like that. Looks like a couple people have joined. Hey, Ryan, thank you. The bull emoji. Yes, I am still a bull because we're above the 50 and 34 EMA, and the moving averages are still nicely stacked. So I'm still on the positive attitude of a bullish market. Again, we've seen this here quite a bit here, that chop we see in the market. Of course, I'm not saying we can predict a correction, but those things kind of come out of left field, especially certain drivers behind that. Yeah, Ryan, we can jump into Tesla. I picked up some today. Actually picked up some on Wednesday when it hit the 50-day. I sold some puts on it, or put spreads to the downside. Again, a bullish play. If you're familiar with options, I'm selling premium. With that, again, it is choppy. As you can kind of dictate if you like to draw lines, the short-term trend is a little bit lower here, isolating on this the trend here. That being said, I think we all pretty well know that Tesla had this absolutely fabulous run from basically 400 to 900. So I think it's due for a little bit of a break or breath or R&R, as they say it sometimes, to potentially get some consolidation come down here. We've talked about this one quite a few times on potentially even coming, that 50-day being that first line of resistance. But if it doesn't hold here, we can easily see it break below that 750 coming down to 722 there, Ryan. I'm not getting, my nose is itching, sorry. I can't pick my nose on YouTube Live. That would get... They probably might kick me off the platform if I did that. And of course, my mother saw that, I would get a little in trouble with that. Tesla to 420. 420, that's a kind of ways down there. Again, 420 would kind of put it where it took off. So isn't that kind of a little of a curious thing there, GT, where basically that's where it took off from that 420. Can it retrace back? Sure, why not? I'm not going to be able to look at that sense, but definitely an interesting one to see. Again, Tesla being where the majority of people are bullish on it. There are some people that are bearish on it, which is totally fine. That makes that makes the market, right? But that being said, we did have that squeeze that did fire short. It's 4 days in, basically this week. If we can get some consolidation here, we get some more chop depending on how next week pans out. But being very mindful that that is, again, the things that we spoke towards the beginning of the video, isolating that, hey, we had a choppy week, most likely due to a very high run in the markets. Again, we made all-time highs at the beginning of the week. And at the same time, we had options expiration. So that can kind of create a catalyst for a chop. Because again, if you look here on the let's just look at SPY. If people are more familiar with SPY, we really did next to nothing. If we just go into a 4-hour chart, a 1-hour chart for the last 4 days, that's basically what we did. We started right about here, and we just basically kind of somewhat went down, but it's just very much just chop, 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 which we somewhat suspected again due to the fact of options expirations weeks. But yeah. Looks like a couple of our folks are joining. Ryan says SCNS is moving up a little. Yeah, that one is an interesting one. Again, this one is just that 5 and 8 moving averages. I think at this point here, Ryan, is just holding that 5 and 8 moving averages and just kind of hitting that. Oh, excuse me. I had a chicken burrito for dinner and some plantanos. So it was delicious. That being said, we're still seeing that the 5 and 8 moving averages being the overall movement, the momentum behind the stock here, with that Fibonacci number around $5 or $4.86 to be precise, kind of creating somewhat of a wall or a level of resistance being there. This is definitely something to see here if we do get breaking through here, because again, the momentum has kind of slowed down here a little bit, because again, it went from the teal to dark blue, and the RSI has kind of come down slightly. But again, if these moving averages can show us to the higher path of trying to break past 5 and maybe even get the ticks next to 6 would be the next overall target to try to be hitting if we break through that $5 level. But then also looking again, hey, we got earnings coming out the first week of March, so got to be somewhat super mindful regarding about that. So I'm a little bit always hesitant. Unless this is a long-term hold for you, you're going to have to hold through earnings or maybe just trim back a little bit. But yeah, I'm a little bit hit and miss sometimes on something holding into earnings like that, unless I'm super high conviction trade. Joshua says, hey, could you do some analysis on Snap, please? And thanks. Thank you for the wonderful manners there, my friend. I appreciate that. I like people with nice manners. Sometimes you don't get that sometimes in the internet world or YouTube world. Let's see here. Yeah, Snap. This thing has been on a snap. Anyways, beautiful looking chart, honestly. The trend ever since this last, or not the previous earnings, but the previous earnings before that, basically in October, really created this wonderful catalyst and this fantastic trend that we're seeing here that's been holding that 21 and 34 EMA, just continue to grind higher. Again, breaking out to an all-time high as of today, which most stocks were flat to even down. Nice little caveat to end your weekend on and really kind of go from there. Again, creating out of the pretty strong overhead resistance, basically around that $64 to $64 level, breaking past that. Really looking for this to maybe continue trying higher here, but being mindful, I'm not the largest fan of trying to buy at these levels. I like to buy closer to the 21 EMA. So if we do get another pullback to that 21 EMA, that's something I'm definitely going to be interested to add to. Amazon, please. Thank you. We got some wonderful mannered people today. I greatly appreciate that. Amazon, I don't know what happened to this thing today. Did it just did not take its morning pills, or didn't have coffee? It just didn't want to participate in the overall market again. Again, being an options monthly expiration and being a very heavily traded stock, this kind of makes sense. That being said, I'm a little worrisome of this squeeze kind of consolidating here. We are below the 21 EMA, which is not, I'm not a largest fan of. We're below the 34 EMA, which is around that 32, 62 level. But we are above the 50 SMA, which is around that 32, 38. So that's somewhat all clear. But if you look here to zoom out here on the chart for Amazon, this has been super choppy here. So full disclosure, I own Amazon. I own some longer dated butterflies on this. I'm kind of casting a wide net on this stock. I'm bullish on it, but today was not a fantastic what's the word? Scenario to kind of see with it, a pretty strong pullback of nearly over 2% here, seeing it really come back to, it didn't break anything, it just doesn't look the prettiest. I don't like to see very large red candles like this. Again, putting it in its own bucket, it was an options expiration week, so we could just kind of see, because you see here towards the end of the day, it just really just sold off most of the day, but especially around that towards the tail end of the last hour of trading, it just really kind of tanked pretty steep down the trade. But that being said, I'm still overall bullish on this. Really looking for, again, it really will break this consolidation pattern if we get a break above 3,336 to get to the positive upside. Amazon trading in a box forever. Yes, Ryan. And Ryan, just remember, AMD traded in that box forever too. James says, hey, Ken, PLTR, please. Wow, I need to buy everyone a slice of pizza and a round of sparkling water. Because this is you get a very kind crew today. I appreciate it, everyone. With PLTR, I think people know at this point, especially if you're in the Discord, I love some PLTR. A Palantir, not I made an oopsies on my last video where I said Peloton twice, but I love Palantir, especially with this pretty strong reversal coming in. Again, Kathy has talked about this. You see Kathy's buying. Again, I'm talking about Kathy Wood from ARK Invest, that they have purchased just an enormous amount of PLTR over the last coming days, and especially after earnings, basically buying the dip, as the kids say. Really, again, it's hard to kind of pinpoint a level here because, again, there's no level here. I'm going to bet you the 89 EMA kind of falls in here. Let me just do that real fast here. Edit studies. I want to do moving average exponential. And then we're going to do the 89. And we're just going to make it. What color should I make then? These decisions are so difficult. We're gonna make it like a tealish, maybe like that. What does that look like? I bet you that's around the 89. Look at that. Give it to me. Look at that. I didn't even look at. I knew that was the 89 EMA right there. Look at that. Do I got the eyes? Do I got the eyes? That is a fantastic little call there. That was a beautiful little snag there to see that really come through there. So very nice there. So yeah, so PLTR bounced off that 89 EMA. I don't use the 89 EMA too much. I use it on some charts, but that is definitely something that I have used in the past for some things. That is, again, 89 is a Fibonacci number, so that's why I didn't pull that number out of my booty hole. That's a Fibonacci number. So 89 is, again, came down to that strong support, bounced here pretty hard. Now we're seeing that kind of somewhat of maybe see a V-shaped recovery with PLTR and try to break up to that 31-ish level to really see that stuff print. If you look here and zoom in and you really enhance here, we did close ever so slightly above the 50 SMA, so that trend is still on the upward upside. David S., what's up, my friend? How you doing? CCIV had a crazy 3 hours before close. CCIV, a lot of people, this is the Lucid Motor stuff. It doesn't do it justice until we get to like a 1 minute chart. I had a couple alerts on this sucker. Basically coming in around, what is this, like 3 o'clock? I got my dings just went crazy, and it literally dropped from like $58 all the way down to 50 in about 2 minutes. And that's pretty steep. And it got halted, I believe, twice. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe 3 times on this move and then another move. Maybe once. I don't remember. I don't own too much of it, so I wasn't too giddy on watching it. I was more or less kind of building out some of my weekend watch list stuff. But yeah, that was a pretty intense move. I'm not gonna lie. It didn't scare me, but it basically more or less is like, okay, the diamond hands, that are basically the sheep in a wolf in sheep clothing, is basically those paper hands, and they're just getting out and just sell. Okay, hold on. Ryan's asking for Ktos. I'll look at that one. Yeah, wow, so Kathy did an interview. I sound like I'm a Kathy fanboy, but that's totally fine. I'm not stalking her. I don't have any restraining orders yet. But with the Ktos, again, she did a great interview on CNBC highlighting that she cannot disclose on what stock they are buying for their new space and space exploration fund. This has been rumored and gone around that this is one of the like 15 stocks that could be potentially being bought up by ARK. But this one is a very beautiful chart as well. It's been holding that 21 to 34 EMA, potentially a buy point here on my radar. If we do get some consolidation here, the only caveat here and red flag that I want to point out is we do have earnings coming out on the 25th. So next week we got the earnings. Does it have weekly expirations? And it does not. So no weekly expirations for this cat. Definitely something to look out for. Being mindful of that. What was the last earnings like? It was kind of blah, and okay. But yeah, being very mindful. I like it between the 21 to 34 EMA. It has come down here quite a few times. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes, so be mindful of that. If the trend wants to continue and hold that 34 and stay above the 50-day, and the earnings is great, that next target is going to be around that $57 to $58 there, Ryan. George, yep, we just did PLTR. Brian says, hey, Ken, can we take a look at TRCH? It's been a kind of decent downfall from 475. Sure. Yeah, I'm not too surprised by this. Again, very much that FOMO kind of parabolic stocks that a lot of people do get wet dreams about, as they say. Really popping off here. A huge gap up, basically from like that 280 to nearly $5 on that day's range, and then kind of coming back down. That being said, it is still, if you're going to be a trend follower, like how I look at things, is it's still above that 5 and 8 moving averages. So if it starts breaking below that like $2.95 and closing below that, then we could see some issues and come back down to that $2.30 to $2 or below there. Kenny Rebel, what's up, my Flintstone? Ben, I'm gonna start calling you Fred. Ben, you're Fred, and you can call me Barney. GEVO, please, and thank you, kind sir, and thank you again for using your manners. Man, you guys are so wonderful tonight. I appreciate that. Ryan's saying he loves his GOV. Still starting a dip though. Yeah, it did have a dip, a pretty strong dip here. Gap down for about 2 days. It came down pretty harsh for over 2 days. Kind of trying to bounce off that 21, but it really didn't hold very well. still traded between that 21 to 34 gap that we like to call a potential buy zone, but a little bit more aggressive buy zone. I like it closer to potentially the 34, especially if something has been very, very highly elevated like this. A pullback like this could be easily kind of some consolidation, or just kind of getting at some weak hands, people selling profits. I don't know the reason behind it, but yeah, definitely that is a level to be looking out for. My level that I have is basically around that 780-ish, but that was due to a potential gap pullback. But that kind of does line up with the 50 SMA that we could potentially see. But with these really pretty strong inside day reversals here, we could easily see this potentially try to stay above that 1150 to 1146 range. Cheng, yes, we did CCIV. CCIV, basically, there's not really too much we can say here. We can kind of just call support levels to the downside. To the upside, we're really, we kind of hit the wall here, basically around like $60. Again, $60 as the closing of limits. We did hit the high the previous day around 65 nearly, but now we came down, we tapped that $50 range or $50.90 and just kind of came right back from that again. That's still continuously seeing that momentum grow here. Again, that 5 and 8 is the two levels that we want to see that momentum continue, and the stock could grow from these levels here. With that being said, we do have some stronger short-dated support around that $47 price target. So that is falling in with the overall trend of the momentum on the parabolic SAR dots. What up, Kelly D? How can I join your Discord app? Please provide the link. It should be in the description. David said, I bought a boatload of PLTR. You backed up the truck? I know. I didn't back up the truck. Well, actually, I have to take that back. I think PLTR, as of today, is my second largest position. I think so. So PLTR has climbed in my longer dated account. Yeah. The true SORA. Hey, Ken, do you mind peeking a FB, please? Thanks, and love the stream as always. Wow. I think we have the kindest folks on the stream tonight. I don't know if everyone just took some humble juice today or something, but wow, this is fantastic. For the Facebook, I don't know what's going on over there, True. To be quite honest with you, the chart is kind of disastrous. It honestly looks like it wants to break lower here. It's showing it has some short-dated support on that green line, which is the 144 EMA on the daily chart, which is around that 261 to 260 range is that level. But if you look here on the top right of my screen, you see these like the X weekly, X 4 days, X 3 days, X 2 days, X daily, and so forth. That just means like all the moving averages are starting to cross over the 21 EMA. So if we just kind of scan through things, it doesn't look very pretty on the charts. Again, the weekly chart looks like maybe consolidation here. I don't know what your time horizon is. Basically with some stronger support coming around 258 and around on the daily chart around 255. So be mindful about those two levels to potentially see some kind of support at that level. With that being said, that squeeze, RSI, and volume zone oscillator both peaking lower here. And when we go to the weekly chart, the Chaikin money flow has kind of shrunk down as well. Not really the world's greatest sign. That being said, this could be consolidation mode. Who knows? But this is, why is my earnings, what is Thinkorswim doing here lately? need to get their stuff together. But yeah, this thing very, very choppy here. This is not my favorite chart to look at right now. If you're a bull on it, I don't know if you're trying to short it, something like that, but I think it's something that could potentially be going down. If it wants to get a breath and get a higher move higher, we're definitely going to be looking for trying to break around that 280 range to see that level be broke above that. Jfrog stock. Is that just frog? Yeah. Yeah, this one, talk about chop and just doing nothing. You can see here, I have an alert here. I don't know when I set that, but it's been forever. It has not broken above that $72 range in some time. Being very, I believe, a pretty interesting company to look at, honestly. I like the company. I like what it's doing on the dev side of things, but very choppy here. It kind of looks somewhat similar to the Rocket stock. Again, this came out around the same kind of time of a public IPO. Really rocketed higher, but then fell off and then did next to nothing for for the last couple of months here, and just traded sideways, showing some support to the downside around 60. So it's trading between $60 and $70, and just kind of bouncing around and trying to find a pattern or a price that it wants to stick to, and maybe via breakout. A breakout would need to be breaking above $70 to $72 to really see this potentially run. A downward break would be a break below $62 to $60 to the downside. Fred, it is. Yes, it is. Any thoughts on CRSR? Is that Corsair? CRSR. Yikes. Yeah, this one was a heavily. Yeah, this had earnings. I remember that. I remember reading about it. I think, did ARK buy this? What did I see on this one? My brain is a little fuzzy. Looking at the chart here, you can really see with the Fibonacci high to low here on this particular consolidation here, you're just seeing it pretty straight off the bat. You can really just remove this as well. You can just see that consolidation basically not being able to break above $45. We've been in a squeeze. We've seen a lot of volume come and go here, but it has not really moved anywhere, right? That's very strange. This kind of needs to kind of settle down a little bit. Maybe just continue to kind of trade higher. So these long candlesticks and wicks here, not really my favorite cup of tea here. So the $45 range is going to be a breakout to the upside here. And I just miss Z. There we go. That being said, a break lower here, we are seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21 EMA. So if we do get a break lower here, we're potentially going to be looking for some support around $37. If we get a break below $37, then that could be kind of a far downfall for CRSR, which is a former love there. Someone's asking for shop, please. You want me to go shopping with you? Anywho, with the old Shopify, yeah, this thing has been what a beast here. I actually sold out of mine majority of my stock going into earnings because, again, it was a trade that I bought in basically in the October and November timeframe. That being said, this has been in a beautiful run here. That trend looks like it wants to continue holding that 5 and 8 moving averages. Looking at those parabolic SER dots here to kind of continue that trend higher with some short-term support coming in around that 1345 and even to that 1330 level, which is the 21 EMA, and trying to break above that beautiful $1,500 range there for shop. Me love you some shoppy. GTA. You want to check out Playboy PL? Is it DY or BY? Yeah. Interesting, very interesting one. Again, it hit that 5 and 8 moving averages. It hit that 21 a couple times here. The trend, these large candle wicks, is not my favorite at all here to see, but it is a interesting play here. I know I think you said you were still in it. That 21 EMA has been somewhat holding it here. We have somewhat of a squeeze building up. So if we do get some consolidation around one of these moving averages, we could potentially get another rip higher here. But the trend is still slightly going up. So yeah. And then you talk about BBY, Build-A-Bear. Yeah, this thing. I think you're onto something here. I'm not gonna lie with you. I don't have the cojones to jump into this, but the chart looks like it's trying to tell a story here. It's holding that 21 EMA. It's kind of hugging fairly close around that 573 or that 575 range on the Fibonacci tree here. If we do get this squeeze to fire any kind of momentum or any kind of volume coming in here, we can probably easily run up to that $7 range. That being said, that support around for $5.50 could be potentially hold. Alex, what's up, my friend? Hey, Ken, what do you think about PEN and XPEV? PEN, I like it. I don't own it. But I do like it. With this trend here, you're seeing that 21 EMA here continuously kind of carry us higher here. We hit that Fibonacci number around 116, which has kind of created some consolidation here and really looking for some potential movement higher here. But with this level that we're being reached here, that basically considering like hell, hold up, wait a minute, let's take a little bit of a break here. Let's eat a power bar. Let's kind of drink some Gatorade or maybe a delicious beverage from Costco. I haven't given up on you, Costco. Come hit me up. With this being said, that 21 EMA is basically going to be looking for that short-term support around 110, even down to the 107 range would be potentially a stronger levels of support. To the upside, if this trend wants to continue by the trend holding the 34 in even the 50 SMA here, some targets would be looking around 156 would be the next Fibonacci number for the old pen. And then XPEV, is that the Chinese one? Yeah, SPEP, yeah. This one, maybe creating somewhat of a double bottom here around 40 to 37. A little skeptical on this one. Again, it's pretty much somewhat of a downtrend for me. Having a little bit of issues to maybe, again, we could come in Monday and it could be a completely V-shaped recovery here and just run up to $50. But that being said, be mindful, we do have earnings coming out here as well. So potentially looking for that. Let me just do this real fast here. Come on now. Yeah, so really need to start seeing it back up to 46. To the downside, we could potentially find some level of support around 37.90 there. I think an SOS $20 call, and the next day SOS does a direct offering for the second time in 2 weeks or so. Love direct offerings, but timing is oof. What do you think about SOS? I don't know too much about it. I don't know what it really does. But that being said, I'm usually not a huge fan of these really highly aggressive stocks here, and really just trading at these highly elevated prices here with the potentially looking at those 5 and 8 moving averages. Excuse me. Again, that chicken burrito, whew, that was delicious, but gets me a little bit of acid reflux. With that 5 and 8 moving averages, really detailing of this, like, hey, this thing has run quite a bit here. Again, we're talking about this stock was just trading at $2.58 at the end of January, and now we're talking about mid of February. It hit a high of 16, and now it's kind of trading in around the range of 11. So you have to kind of think of it like in the sense of like the market perspective, in the sense of humans buying and selling this. Again, that's what most people look at is just the psychology about it. Like I'm like, okay, wow, look at that volume kind of came in here, and that this chart right here, this volume profile can kind of help us isolate that. So the most volume and most was picked up around that $2.34. So the $2.34 is basically where majority of the volume or the point of control is controlled at. We have another significant level around that $9.65, but that's nowhere near as strong as that point of control. So if we do get a pullback here, again, using the 5 and 8 moving averages, using that point of control we just talked about, easily looking for some support around $9.21, depending on what SOS is going to be doing the offering at. Normally they do somewhat below market value, but we shall see on how that happens there. I currently have no position in that. Kelly D, thoughts on Riot making or selling 50-ish puts? Yeah, I didn't honestly participate in this one as well, but this thing is... Whoo! Thoughts on thinking of selling 50-ish puts? You're selling the 50-ish put? Yeah, the 50-ish put kind of falls into where the parabolic SAR dots are. You can kind of see that here. The dots are on 48, and we have a Fibonacci number at 49.55. That being said, it's hard to what am I trying to say? Sorry. Hard to kind of potentially look at the Riot because, again, it's a very heavy momentum stock because, again, once this music stops at these levels here, that way down is going to get very, very fast. Again, selling premium in this would be ideal. Maybe I wouldn't do a naked put on this one because, again, I don't think I have the confidence for that in my particular account, but I would maybe do it like a put credit spread and maybe even lower to the 21 EMA and even to around that 37 to 32, which probably not going to get too much premium on that even out in the March here. So around the, what did I say? The 20, 30, 40-ish to 37 range. Yeah, you might get a little bit, a couple shekels here. Oh yeah, look at that. You can sell this one and then buy this one. It's kind of a wide spread, but you can make a nice little decent couple shekels there without a doubt. Look at the old Google. Yes, Google is an interesting one to watch. Again, this thing has been a very hot and spicy one. This has been, you can call me Mr. Fahrenheit because this thing has been trading super hot here. Looking again at those parabolic SAR dots here, continuously kind of pushing these higher. Again, the parabolic SAR dots are very much not used. I don't see a lot of people talking about them or using them on their charts. They're fantastic to kind of help you kind of dictate the trend here. Since they are below the overall ticks here, that basically is isolating it like, hey, that if the dots are below the overall stock price, that means the trend is trying to go higher, it's trying to elevate it. But as you can see here, since his last earnings, which again, I don't know why Thinkorswim cannot get their shit straight here, and getting those numbers printed on here on the I just kicked my USB device. Oopsies. 1 second here. I think I just kicked it. My fat feet. My camera just went dead. Am I still there? I don't want to restart this. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Yeah, my camera's completely nixed. Let me see what I can do here. Yeah. All right, well, I'm just gonna nix the camera for now, so we just can't see my pretty face. I do apologize that. I know it's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings not able to see my wonderful face. So, yeah. I'm sorry, where was I? Yeah, Google. Google's been a very high flyer here, really seeing this potentially trying to really break out here. Again, you're seeing Google really take off. You're seeing the, yeah, you can still hear me. That is definitely, yeah, something to be, again, no video for me. So, yeah, no hard feelings there. Can kick the bucket. That's funny. Audio is good. Okay. Anyways, technical difficulties, whatever. Just won't be able to see my face and my wonderful expressions. With that being said, okay, Google, fantastic kick higher since that's last earnings. Really just being somewhat of a air quote, again, you can't see me now, market leader in the sense of just really beating the other FANG stocks. Again, we talked about Apple's been somewhat kind of holding that 130 range. Facebook doesn't look too great. It's down nearly $8 today. Really, these kind of other market leaders that people continuously talk about, but Google has kind of been outperforming here, basically hitting an all-time high this week. Somewhat slowing down here. Some would call this maybe a somewhat of a topping pattern, kind of making that dome kind of momentum here. Maybe if we do get a break on that short-term support around 2080, we can easily see this come down to around that $2,000 price target if we do get a significant pullback. But if this trend wants to continue, we're going to be easily looking for 2,250 be the next Fibonacci sequence there. David is asking for ORBC ready to rip after earnings. Your thoughts, please. ORBC. Interesting. I like this. This is, you always pick some interesting charts, and I've never, you see no lines on this chart, so that means like I've never honestly, I've put my fingers on it, and I love to put my fingers on everything, and it's basically like I'm a kid in a candy shop, so if I do like and see something, I'm just going to take it and eat it. This is definitely something that looks super interesting. I actually really like this. With that being said here, wonderful holding that 21 EMA and the 34 EMA. With that being said, as earnings on the 24th, so next week, just coming around the corner, does not have weekly options, so we can't really look on the particular move here. With that being said, though, that 34 EMA could be its short-term support around that $8 to around $7.92 to be kind of that overall level of support there. And with that being said, those parabolic SAR dots would be some stronger support because, again, that's where the 50-day SMA has come in. This has been pretty much ripping since its last earnings, so maybe potentially get, again, some consolidation or even a pullback, but David's fairly confident that he thinks it's going to be continuing to rip higher here. By continuing ripping higher, it would really need to break above that $9 range to really kind of see any kind of movement. It'd be interesting. Yeah, I figured this. Okay. So this had some kind of levels here before. So let's do this fib here. Yeah. So 911 is going to be a very key Fibonacci level here. We're looking here on the weekly chart here. So the swing high to swing low here. You saw like this fail here back in, what is that, early 19. Hasn't really seen that level since 2019. And now we're seeing it back up here around that 911 here once again here in early 2021. What year that was? Then that's basically 2 years later. It took basically, imagine buying it here at $9.11. Then you're like, oh snap, oh shit, and then it comes all the way down to $1.24, and then you're like, oh please Lord, please go higher, and you're saying your Hail Marys, your karma is going through the roof. You're being kind to people, you're giving good tips to waitresses, and being polite to people at the bakery, and then boom, you finally get the day. 2 years later, back up to a 911, and you're just selling out of it here. Just a joke, but that is a pretty significant level here. That being said, if we do get a break here and that earnings really kind of starts another whirlwind higher, we're going to be looking for that 1125 to come through there. Yeah, NIO I saw as well. NIO kind of came in here. NIO, of course, another EV car company play here. Very choppy here. A little bit better than the XPEV or XPEV, the other one in China on the chart wise. It is hitting the 50-day here a little bit here on that $57, 57 price target here, or basically that level of resistance, and that 50 SMA as well. So we potentially could get a bounce here, but we are in the early stages of the 5 and 8 kind of crossing through the 21 EMA. So we could maybe get a pullback. Again, we do also have earnings coming out the first week of March. So yeah, definitely something to be well aware of, especially with earnings and calls. That could be quite a storm that you really don't want to be a part of if you're on the wrong side of wrong. Yeah, and also, if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you went to the nearest bakery wherever you live and get a delicious coffee beverage and a croissant. And then also, please hit the like button. Yeah, I did that, David. I should have just restarted my computer previously to the stream here. I was just being lazy. What's up, Alpaca? Was okie dokie. Let's see here. Sky Traders asking for EBON is looking yummy blockchain. Yeah, that is one that has definitely been a very interesting one, without a doubt. This thing, again, I'm not currently have a position in this one, but I know folks on the Discord have been talking about this and really kind of highlighting this stock kind of coming through. Very interesting one to look at. It has previous history of strong moves higher and making pretty drastic moves in one single day on very low volume, considering what the hold is here. But looking at this one, potentially, if we do kind of carry this momentum higher, would be looking around that 1256 range to kind of look for those targets to be met there. With some short data support, we are looking here on the daily chart here, we are somewhat deviations, many deviations away from the 5 and 8 moving averages. So that just kind of proves my point and hyper extends this of showing it how far and how fast and how the momentum behind the stock has really kind of climbed in a very short period of time. So I'm very mindful about that. Again, if that does pull back, the really the short-term support is going to be coming around $9.67 to $9.38, and even back down to that parabolic SAR dots around 850. Reddit vibe, yeah, CCIV, it probably was just the large seller that came in and just dumped some stock. That's basically what happened. And then the algorithms and people just got paper hands and just kind of went with it. Steven, thank you for coming by. It's been a while since I was able to catch a live stream. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing very well. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Do you mind taking a look at WATT? Had a huge pre-market move, then it kind of did a cup and handle formation on the 5-minute charts throughout the day. Let's see here. WATT. I know, I think Ryan and David, weren't you talking about this one this morning? On the 5-minute chart, I normally don't look at that kind of time frames, but let me look at here on this chart here. Yeah, it looks like it had a huge move higher pre-market to around that 827, and then kind of came right back down here. Really, yeah, kind of made some of a cup and handle and broke some level of support here, a resistance around $6.15, and then really kicked higher, but then kind of still kind of pooped it going into aftermarkets trading here. That being said here, this is not, again, I think most people don't buy into these stocks to invest in. They're just kind of just trading it and just getting it out of it, washing their hands and just saying goodbye. With that being said, very difficult to kind of give you some kind of a fib sequence here, because again, let me see here. Okay, so this stock just 3 years ago was $24. Wowzers. I don't know the story behind it, but look, we've seen these kind of pretty escalated moves higher a little bit here. On the weekly chart here, we could potentially reach that $8 range, which is kind of the falling 200 EMA here. The 200 EMA is pretty significant on any chart here, and especially on the weekly, that kind of isolate a potential or stronger uptrend. But with this huge extended candle being up only nearly 95% today, this is you're really rolling the dice here on if this could potentially get a pullback higher or lower here. Sky Rolls is just warm rolls from the bakery. Coffee and donuts, yes. Heck yeah. FRX. Thank you for hitting the like button, guys. I appreciate it, and gals. Let's see here. FRX. Looks like a SPAC. What in the world? This candle right here, I'm not a fan of, to be quite honestly. It kind of is like I forget what they call it. They kind of call it like a shooting star here, with such a long wick here. It's basically saying, like, let's just look at here on like a let's go back to that 15-minute chart here. Yeah, look at this. This is insane. So basically, it had a pretty strong opening here, running up within the first like 30 to 45 minutes. Again, that 30 to 45 minutes is basically, hey, this is the potential levels to see it go long, aka the day trader time frame, that 9:30, 10 to 10:30. The day traders are in and out of it. The scalpers, the short-term mindset folks, you have to be super mindful and careful on when you're buying. If you're potentially trying to buy in those levels here, you have to be very understanding of that you're battling with the algorithms and a lot of day traders and a lot of scalpers in that around that time frame. Definitely, you can see that ran up the price quite a bit here into the opening here. Kind of flatlined here a little bit, and then just kind of took a poop towards the end of the day here, like a lot of stocks did. But looking here on the daily chart here, I don't have to put this like a 4-hour chart or something, because I'm not seeing too much going on here. Yeah, it's very much elevated here, but again, kind of being a broker record here, it's holding that 5 and 8 here, so ever so slightly. So if that trend can continue with the short-term support coming around 14.14, and maybe trying to kind of carry this this sucker higher here. But again, it's a SPAC. A lot of people trade this and just get out of it and just forget it. So be very careful out there. Jay's asking, can you check out UAVS? It's a drone company that is starting to make some moves. Yeah, we looked at this one on Sunday, I believe, right? Ooh, yeah, it made some moves to the downside. Yike caramba. How in the heck was it still up 15%? Okay, I guess it was 15% up from the day. Okay, that's wow. Okay. So yeah, very choppy here. I mean, it was very good overall trend here, kind of holding that 21 EMA, but then something happened here. Did something news report happen or short report or something happened here that just really just brought it lower here. Maybe again, just weak hands, people take a profit. People were kind of scared of the overall chop on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 and just kind of like, hey, let me take my chips off the table and kind of go home and eat coffee and donuts. What was the issue going on here? But again, very strong candle down here. I do not like these large red candles. These are very scary. That just means like all this work that was happening here, trying to consolidate to try to make it go higher, it was just all given up by this one single silly red candle here. Not meaning it can't recover here, but this shook out quite a few people. Yeah, people could have bought the dip, but how many people do you know? Like, look to the left, look to the right, look at your phone, look at your WhatsApp that you know that's willing to hold through some stocks like that. I don't know many people that are not even able, but more or less to have the cojones to hold into that. And I'm not just talking about someone who's been trading for 4 or 5 years or 10 years or a 34-year expert, but more or less people who could be potentially buying this. I'm not sure what the demographic is, but it is probably looking for something that is something that more or less the Robinhood or Wall Street Bets folks just kind of moving on to the next shiny object. I'm just drawing a lot of conclusions here, but that's what I'm looking at here. Mac is saying CCIV is a bounce back up. Typhoon, I don't know if everyone think it's lucid. But yeah, the deal's not even fully closed yet, correct? And they're trying to. The money is just crazily, I believe, overvalued right now. So be very mindful about that as well. Bruce is asking for FUBO. Yep, this thing has definitely been also on the move here. Kind of coming into some very tight consolidation here. With this again, a very interesting company. We take a sip. You see here on the fibs here, looking at the 62.30 to around this low here that we had basically at the beginning of the year, around 23, creating this Fibonacci sequence here. We have not really been able to get above 47, and we're kind of bouncing off the floor around 42. So between these two levels, we're just kind of been ping-ponging around here, maybe trying to break out here. The RSI and volumes on oscillator are both somewhat dormant, so basically isolating at those showing us like, hey, this is kind of trading sideways. It is potentially consolidating, maybe trying to build a base to kind of rip higher here. The place we want to potentially see rip higher is around 47. If it does break above 47, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we could see this run up to $54, which again was the next previous level of resistance. To the downside, we have to give you both the inverse, the positive and the negative of things, because again, I don't have a crystal ball. I have ordered one from multiple gypsies, and none of them have worked. I'm going to start going into other cultures to kind of get their crystal balls as well. With that being said, to the downside, that it's kind of hovering on its support level there, but that 34 to the 50 SMA, which kind of hovers around that $40 range, could be that level of support if we do get a pullback. So being very mindful. Highly elevated stock. It has a lot of IV. The short interest, I believe, I know, Ryan, are you trading this one, or David, is pretty high. Last time I checked was on 40%, if I'm right. RLG, what's up, my dude? Thoughts on FireEye and RTX? That's Raytheon. Yeah, I was gonna do an article or a video on RXT on Raytheon that the got a new arms deal from President Biden. The Secretary of Defense owns about I think it was like 6,000 or 5,000 shares of Raytheon, so I find that a little interesting. Not many people reported on it, but that's fine. That's okay. That's just how the world works. With the old Raytheon, this could be a potential catalyst going into the SpaceX or not space. So the space, not SpaceX, the company, but their space exploration and innovation fund that they're going to be. They have already announced, but they haven't procured all the positions and was able to announce through the SEC yet. With that being said, that $72 range is going to be your first level of support to the downside, with the target to try to beat is around $78 to $80. So there's going to be a level that we can potentially see on a move higher here with that one. And then earlier, looking for FireEye. Yeah, FireEye, I know fairly well. I know two folks that work over there. They don't give me insider knowledge, but I was an early investor in Fire. I would have to talk about story time today, but I had that huge move higher when it kind of got this hack kind of went through here last year, kind of consolidated a little bit, then kind of came out of nowhere with some great announcements and really just isolating some key issues within the security space within the Internet of Things on closing some loopholes here. But that being said, ever since it's had this huge run higher, it's kind of been hovering around that $21 range. Not saying it can't break out here. I think it really can, to be quite honest here. This squeeze looks pretty intense here. If we do get that squeeze to kind of fire here, the only thing we're kind of missing is volume here, because you can see the volumes on oscillators not doing next to nothing, and the RSI is just kind of waiting for a catalyst. So if we do get that push higher here, especially looking at the weekly chart here, we've come down to that $19 to $20 range to be some support here. This thing could rip higher easily to $25, I believe. To the downside support, we're going to be looking for $20 initially. So 81 cents lower where it currently is, and even back down to 18.34. Dan, what's up, Dan? We did look at SOS. Not too much I can say. I made a nice profit on the dip this morning and FRSS. Nice, David. Oh shoot. Oh, it's due to stock manipulation for UAVS. Oh, that's sad to hear. GMA holders knew they only have one mode. Hold. That's all you can do is hold. Kelly D's thoughts on CFF as a SPAC supposed to merging with very smart windows. Yeah, I own it. I own this one. It hasn't been an easy one to hold. I like the concept. I just don't. The thing is with a lot of these SPACs, it's just so difficult. Like, I love the company, but I think there's something we just don't know quite yet, and we'll probably know in 5 or 10 years of like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, you remember all those silly SPACs that we all bought, just not really doing any kind of due diligence, and just people kind of put them out there, and there wasn't really much regulations on it, and there was a lot of inside buying, there was a lot of upfront cost, or whatever reason it could be. I don't know. I can't tell the future yet. But there'll be a one time when we're all sitting around having a cup of coffee, eating a croissant, maybe a donut of some kind, and just like, hey, do you remember those SPACs and everything, and how they were running around and all kinds of things, and how some did great and some didn't, and whatever reasons? Like, I'm kind of getting that feeling somewhat already. I know that some of the people do share that opinion, and some people think I'm completely stupid and just like, hey, just go with the times, Ken, and get that free money. I'm a little bit hesitant here on a lot of these SPACs here, especially now with this one, seeing on our deep review of just the consolidation that we're seeing here with this SPAC announcement. On the chart, it looks okay here. It has some support coming in around that $11 to $10.96 range. If that can hold, we can easily potentially run up to that $11.89 to $12 range to potentially see that kind of be hit those triggers there to the upside. But yeah, very difficult. Again, really have to understand the ins and out of the company if you really want to be going in, and maybe some of these SPACs will pan out and some won't. So be very mindful. There's people that are smarter than me that are staying away from SPACs. So just make sure it comes down really to anything. You just have to know what you own. UVS had an investigation. Yikes. Reddit vibe is looking ACI. Yeah, I like this one. A little bit of chop. Oh, I misspelled that. Again, buying it up here, not my favorite cup of tea. Not my style either. Buying at these very high levels here, potentially looking for some support to the short term, coming in back down to 15 to 1475. But that being said, that doesn't. It's a very spicy meatball. Again, there's a lot of money in this one. Again, it's a SPAC as well. I believe Chamath Palpatiel's got his finger in this cookie jar as well. You can kind of see here where I have my alert set up to potentially look at it once again around that 1360. I'm going to move this one ever so slightly to around that 8 EMA, which we're currently looking at. We did close down 5% today, so again, we'll see how that one turns out. ZOM. Yeah, we're looking at the old ZOM. ZOM, yeah, very much again, it's holding that 5 and 8 moving averages, showing some kind of consolidation around that 5 and 8 moving averages. That being said, if this kind of holds up here, maybe waiting for the longer dated moving averages to kind of catch up, and then we'll get another kick higher here. But yeah, this is definitely an interesting one to look out for. Again, not really my favorite cup of tea. Could be easily manipulated with the penny stock kind of catalyst there. So be careful out there. RMO. Yeah, some of these, this is again being super mindful of not all SPACs are created equal. Again, I don't know the full story about this power company here, but this thing had a beautiful run higher here to that $38 to $40 range, and this kind of came out of nowhere, and it just kind of been trending lower here. It really tells a very clear picture on those purple parabolic SAR dots, just continuously pushing this trend lower and lower and lower. Whoa, I said lower. I was trying to lower my voice at the same time, but I don't have that capability. But that being said, we are showing maybe some short-term support around that 200 EMA, around that 1438 price target there. So yeah. I'll be remembered when Nikola was at 20 and now it's at 500. That'll be the day, wouldn't it? Nikola turns into a higher price stock than Tesla. That'll be the day. That would be the day. That would be hilarious. That'd be a funny video to kind of just troll people. Anyways, Corsair Gaming, we talked about this one just a little bit here as well. Very much chop here. We're looking for some short-term support coming in around 38 to 37. If that doesn't hold, we could be kind of going to unknown territory there, Scotty. But to break out, we really need to see it back above $44 there. Dan's asking for JMIA. Yeah, this is one, I think, due to the chop that we saw in the overall market this week, this is kind of like entailing of like, hey, not all things are people have diamond hands in, and people sometimes isolate things of like, oh, this stock's never going to go below, I don't know, $60 this week. Well, the stock did go below 60 and is now it's actually at 55, nearly at 56. Very strong stock. Really, I wouldn't say it came out of nowhere. We've seen this one kind of take off later last year into the November Thanksgiving timeframe. Kind of came on a lot of people's radars. You can kind of see with the volume coming in here, and just took off here and just following that 21 EMA, kind of pulling back here a little bit. And now we're seeing a pullback, which we haven't seen too often here. The last time we kind of saw this was the beginning of the year with that pullback to the 34 EMA. So we could potentially, again, history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. So it'd be kind of looking at that isolations targets there. If we do get a break below 57, we can easily come back down to the $50 range, which would potentially kind of line up with the 50 SMA here. To the upside, we are having a lot of issues to kind of really break above $62 to $63. IPO has been a POS for a while. Yeah, you can say that again. it has been a really big poopy face in my face. Not fun at all to kind of hold here. Thank God I own the stock, not options, because I can't imagine the theta just deteriorating in front of you here. It has been holding that 21 EMA, so I'm really consistently looking here on a daily basis of like, okay, the trend is kind of consolidating here. We could get some kind of announcement. The word on the street is they're trying to get this deal done by the end of March. So hopefully in the next coming weeks we get that potential catalyst to kind of see SoFi be publicly traded and not longer be under one of these SPAC names, the IPOE. What is he has IPOE, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Is there G out yet? No, G's not out yet. Okay. IPOE. But yeah, so this is definitely something to kind of consider here. Holding that 21 EMA ever so slightly here, bouncing here a little bit. If we do get a bounce here, basically on that 21 EMA and this Fibonacci number here, I actually kind of somewhat need to update these levels here. Actually, hold on. Ow, shoot. Oh, no. Wrong buttons. Fat fingers. See, this is why I don't day trade, because I have fat fingers. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, the $24, $37, $25 has been some of a wall of resistance there, and I know it. Tony Montana is GMA's going to the moon. Sure, my friend. Well, it's going to be going to the moon without me, because this looks like I'm sorry to hate to say it and bust your bubble. I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know where it's going to be going. But that being said, it is somewhat just really heavily consolidating here. If we do get a kick higher here, it's going to be very hard to do any kind of technical analysis because of all this mumbo jumbo stuff over here that hit 500 and all this kind of stuff has really skewed up a lot of the moving averages. But that being said here, looking here on a very small time frame here on the 15-minute chart here, it's just heavily trending lower here. It needs to break above $45 to potentially break out of this 15-minute trend lower here. If we go to the 30-minute, same kind of scenario, it needs to kind of break above $51-ish, which is the following 200 EMA on that chart here. Reason because Deep F and Value doubled his GameStop position from 50K to 100, and I'm buying more on Monday. Well, Godspeed, my friend. I honestly believe that, not saying it's over for GME, but I think we clearly saw who the winners were in the overall stopping of this. Rob's asking for IPOF. Yeah, they haven't made an announcement for IPOF, right? It's pretty highly traded at these levels here, around $15, again, with zero announcements. This is something to really look for, like, hey, the stock hasn't done anything, but people are giving it this pretty high premium again, which normally SPAC stocks are trading at $10, but this is just trading at a 50% premium outside of that, which is, I think, strange. But I think this whole market's been strange in that fact. But looking here, I'm seeing a lot of buts. That 15, 16 is a very level that we've kind of seen some kind of consolidation in, some support coming into that 34 EMA, even down to $14 level. But this is just technically talking about the chart. We have literally no information on who and what they're potentially buying. Vasily, what do you think about DraftKings looking held previous support? Yeah, let me look at that. Whoops, I felt it wrong. interesting. Some people would call this a double top here around that $64 range here, and here. It has not really broken this double top to it like a what's the word? A textbook level here. It is holding the 21 EMA somewhat. Again, this was a direct listed IPO, I believe, or no, it was a SPAC. No, DraftKings was a SPAC, and just kind of took off here out of nowhere. Talking about this one is a very difficult one for me because again, I lost some money on this last year, basically from 37 to basically 30. But we're not going to talk about that. Kathy Wood and ARK bought this stock as well here. Now we're seeing it kind of again hit that 34 EMA on Thursday and bounced off it pretty hard. If we want to see this trending kind of continue higher, we're going to be trying to see that break of 64. With that being said, we have some targets around $72 to $82 to potentially see if this can continue that run up there. Silent Killer, IOTA. I don't see that killer. Yeah, Kelly D. Yeah. I think ARK bought on D King and PLTR. Ben's asking, or Fred, sorry, is SCNS old news now? No, I think there's going to be some true believers still in there. Again, I still have my very small position in this one as well. It's still kind of holding that 5 and 8 moving averages and not really doing much else at those levels here. Potentially, again, running into earnings, just be super mindful of that earnings flag coming in there. Oh, GFV has a time frame of years. Well, God bless him. Okay, good. And he has millions, yeah. Jordan's asking for plug. Yeah, plug kind of sold off very hard this week. And now we're seeing somewhat of a pretty significant bounce off here of the 50 SMA. With that being said, its earnings coming up just around the corner. Basically, let me get rid of these fibs here. On the 25th, so what would make it Wednesday of next week? Thursday of next week. So that be very mindful of that and isolating that as a potential catalyst to really see on how that goes forth. It does have weekly options. We're looking for potentially a move with a high IV of $8. So wowzer, that's a lot of a potential move here. So currently trading on 55, 56. That can easily break up to that 62-ish, 61-ish, easily to that 21 EMA, which is, again, that level of support we want to potentially see climb higher here, and as well potentially to that $66 range if it gets a very strong run if on the bullish side. To the downside, that 50 SMA is pretty strong a lot of the times, but if it really has a bad earnings or bad numbers, that could easily create a catalyst to go lower here and maybe get this gap fill block here and maybe come down halfway to around that 40-ish, the 45 to 40-ish level there. Jay's, I think I got some AMC $6 calls for 3.5 at 44 cents, hoping they print. So just I'm not trying to make fun of your strategy, but hoping is not part of my strategy. That being said, wow, it's kind of looking a lot like GME, this short squeeze of people like getting out of it, people who promise that they're going to have diamond hands, now they don't, or whatever the issue is here. Just people like, okay, done on giving it to the man, just kind of going off to the next shiny object. With that being said here, we are looking to kind of showing some support level here, but again, these moving averages and so many things are so skewed right now with all what happened over here. Again, this is not I wouldn't say a healthy pattern for the stock, because again, it really isn't. It had a large move higher in a couple days, but then kind of was in a balloon, and it deflated quite fast here. Now a lot of people are bag holders here, maybe getting out, whatever the issue is. But I think that just be very careful on that one. Any of those like Robinhood short interest ones, be very mindful of those. VIOT, they look, no, I have not looked at that one. VIOT, yeah, very aggressive FOMO parabolic trade here. Nothing really I can say too much more. If it holds at 5 and 8, it's really going to be looking for that level of support there. TSNP, what in the world? I don't know how I did this one. Yeah, coming down easily here to some support around that 34. That 21 to 34 is also a very interesting levels to look for of support and potentially buying zones. With that being said, again, this is a penny stock, not my cup of tea at all. So just be very mindful. These do sell off pretty fast and can explode higher really easily. What's up? Thank you, Paul, for coming by looking for CRISPR. Jordan, think you're welcome. John, what's up, my friend? What did I miss something? ABB buy and hold. Are you asking, Linda? Let's see here. AABB. Yeah. No offense to you. This is not my favorite cup of tea. These very, very aggressive penny stocks. ADTN. ADTN looks interesting. It has kind of come off here a little bit. It has been trading lower here. It's below, it did trade below, slightly below the 50-day, and then it kind of came back into the close today. But it did fail on that 21 EMA here around that 1640-ish range. So potentially looking for some patterns that kind of failed here with that downward trend. Again, with that downward trend, we can really highlight here on those purple parabolic SAR dots there. What's on your radar for next week? I have to do my weekly scans, and I'll definitely take a looky-loo, and I'll share with what I'm looking at there, Ben. AES. Interesting. I kind of like this one. Very beautiful, continuous like trade here. Got a little hyped up here, came back down, made a V-shaped recovery, potentially trying to create a base here and maybe get a breakout zone, a breakout line around 2850 or above here to the upside here. Being mindful, we do have earnings coming out there too, so always been hesitant about that. Johns, do you think that the NYSE will be able to open a Bitcoin ETF that would open up in Toronto Stock Exchange? I sure would hope so, right? I think more people exposed to that, the newer capitals and stuff like that, is always for the best, because it kind of, it's, how do you trade Bitcoin right now? There isn't really the easiest way of like an ETF. They have that grayscale ETF, so they have the GBTC ETF that mimics the Bitcoin itself, the price. Again, like look at this as just breaking out to all-time high. I do have a Fibonacci level around $63 to potentially see if we hit that with GBC. Basically, with the Bitcoin price, would be potentially looking for around that 66,800 level to potentially see and being met there with the old that. Because again, a lot of people are getting hyped up on the old Bitcoin. Yeah. Again, Ben, I'm going to try to be doing different videos here, more or less just kind of showing my trading philosophy. I might even do a live stream this week of me doing my scans and able to ask questions while I'm doing my homework and things like that on stocks. But yeah, I want to try different things. What happened to EXPI? What do you mean? What happened to it? It's been a beautiful running up stock, and now it's kind of somewhat coming down for consolidation. Like the last this whole week, it's kind of hit that $90, and this kind of really kind of came down. This looks like a lot of selling. Looks like there was a split here as well, so be mindful about that. So usually those splits again are not my favorite because again that is a somewhat of a reverse split. Oh, it wasn't a reverse split. Sorry. What did I just type in here? Oh my gosh, I am going. Was it 2 for 1? Yeah, it was 2 for 1. Sorry, I was looking at Tesla. So they're taking. You're getting 2 shares for the price of or 1. I mean, sorry, they're taking 1 share to 2. So basically, they're lowering the price target here. I'm going to do a quick little market overview here on the futures market, and then I'm going to call it a night, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize. It's been somewhat of a crazy week here on my end. It has been somewhat exhausting. I'm sadly enough to say that I'm falling asleep here a little bit, and my eyes are getting very drowsy here. Definitely be paying attention for some videos coming out this week regarding about earnings and other various components that I'll be looking at. I'm actually currently working on a video that highlights my boy Michael Burry's newer positions and some calls that he has. So definitely something to look out for there. So with the S&P 500 again, pretty much I would say flat to down this week, but the trend is still kind of continuously higher here. And same with the old NASDAQ as well. We did touch that 21 EMA on both indicators, basically showing that, hey, things are a-okay here, but that trend is kind of a little bit of wishy-washy due to the fact of the market moves that we saw due to weak hands, due to monthly expirations, and all kind of various other components that can kind of tie into that. I saw Shop come through. Yeah, Shop is looking interesting. It looks like it wants to try to get back up to that $1,500 range. With that being said, it has some short-term support coming in around 1367. So be super mindful about that one. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, sorry that I had technical difficulties. Sorry that I'm not be able to stay on a little bit longer here. It was definitely a pleasure. I appreciate everyone coming out. And I please, on the way out the door, if you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe, and I will be posting some videos. Definitely would love to see you at the Discord or in the Discord or whatever they say. I'm going to put that link here so you can join the Discord within the chat. Again, no obligations. You don't have to pay for anything. It's completely free. Would love to see you out there. We always have great discussions. The larger discussions are always happening within the live trading room. So yeah, hopefully to see you guys out there, and have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you guys on the next live stream. All right. Peace.